What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to part 2 of the Middle Class series. If you didn't see the first part, there's a link down below, and it's a video about cities the middle class has been priced out of. Today we're looking at cities in the United States that, for middle class, you turn a wrench, swing a hammer, answer phones, you can still live here comfortably. As we've all seen in the last couple decades, the middle class is shrinking, and not all are getting rich and moving on up like George Jefferson. We're going to look at the average home value according to a couple of different real estate websites, the livability score, and the annual average cost of living excluding housing costs. And this is according to the Consumer Expenditure Survey from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Everyone wants to know sometimes where I got my numbers. That's where it is. All right, let's see where the middle class can still thrive. Number 10, Laredo, Texas. I'll give you the heads up now, there's a lot of Texas on this video. But Laredo, Texas is a South Texas city of almost 260,000 residents on the banks of the Rio Grande and the Mexico border, obviously. About 2,000 jobs in Laredo have to do with the Border Patrol, but their biggest employers here are a couple of different school districts. I haven't been to Laredo in years, but when I went there and I visited, I enjoyed it. They had great food, great people. Is it the greatest city in Texas? No, but it's a decent place to live. It's affordable and it's safe. Most people have this illusion that if it's on the border with Mexico, it's just going to be this horrible place to live. No, take a look at some of the places like Brownsville, El Paso, Laredo. Their crime rates are not high. Matter of fact, the crime rate in Laredo is 16% lower than the national average. The average home value here is $165,000. Their livability score is 74, and the annual cost of living, excluding housing, is about $18,000 a year. Now, that one varies whoever, but that's what you can get by on, $18,000 a year, not counting housing. Number 9, Tyler, Texas. Tyler, Texas is about the midway point between Dallas and the Louisiana border. Tyler is in East Texas, which is sort of known as the beginning of the South. It's just the beginning, so they have dentists. Tyler is a city of a little over 106,000 residents, and their largest employers are a couple healthcare companies. Actress Sandy Duncan was raised here. She was born down the road in Henderson, but raised in Tyler. One YouTuber living in Tyler said people here are polite, not friendly. And then she said there's a difference. She did a top 10 reasons to live in Tyler. I'll leave a link down below. It's pretty entertaining. Her channel's called Channel Dani, D-A-N-I. Anyway, the average home value here is $184,000. The livability score in Tyler, Texas is 76, and the annual cost of living, excluding housing, is about $18,000. Number 8, Norman, Oklahoma. Norman is a suburb of Oklahoma City. It's just south of downtown. Norman has about 125,000 residents, and it's a really nice place to live. It has a little bit of crime. It's only like 15% higher than the national average. Everything else is good or great. Their schools on average get very high marks. And stop typing. I'm sure at least one of the schools suck. I get that all the time. I give stats or grades on a school district, and someone needs to tell me I'm wrong because the school they went to sucked. We're talking averages. The largest employer here is the University of Oklahoma, then Norman Regional Hospital, and Norman Public Schools. Oklahoma in general is just a great place for the middle class to live. It's kind of a thing now. The average home value in Norman is $191,000. Their livability score is 84, which is pretty good. Their annual cost of living, excluding housing, is about $20,000 a year. It's a little more expensive than some of the other ones we have on this list, but their livability score is really good. Number 7, Fremont, Nebraska. Fremont is a suburb of Omaha, Nebraska, and it has about 26,000 residents. It also sits on the Platte River. So that gives you something to do if you move there. This is a great place for middle-class remote workers. The cost of living here is low, and so are the home prices. It's also the nation's largest producer of Spam. That's right, Spam. A bunch of Hawaiians just started looking for homes in Fremont, Nebraska. Hormel, the producer of Spam, is the largest employer in Fremont. They got about 1,500 locals working there. Now, that was pre-pandemic. If that changed since then, I know people have been laid off and everything else like that, but that's pre-pandemic numbers. They don't have much crime in Fremont either. The total crime rate is 3% lower than the national average. Their violent crime rate is actually 61% lower than the national average. The average home value in Fremont is $196,000. The livability score is 79, and the annual cost of living, excluding housing, is about $16,000. Number 6, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Iowa's starting to pick up popularity as a place for millennials and the middle class to move. Des Moines is, I wouldn't say start blowing up, but a lot of people are heading that way. Davenport and Cedar Rapids seem to be next on the migration list. Cedar Rapids has about 133,000 residents that's living in the city. The entire metro area has about 257,000. Cedar Rapids has some tech and aerospace companies that a lot of people work at. Their biggest one is Collins Aerospace. That has almost 10,000 employees. After that, you got some hospitals that employ a bunch of people. I like Cedar Rapids. They got a nice downtown. It's a really good looking place. Nice mixture of old restored buildings and newer buildings. Pretty neat place. It's got the Cedar River running right through town. The average home value in Cedar Rapids, Iowa is $168,000. The livability score is 78, and the annual cost of living, excluding housing, is about $18,000. Number 5, Des Moines, Iowa. State in Iowa, we have Des Moines. A lot of people think Des Moines is the capital of Iowa. I find that really strange. I mean, it is the capital of Iowa, but that seems to be all that people know about this state. Unless they're from Iowa or one of the nearby states, nobody seems to know anything about this place. One thing people are starting to learn about Des Moines is it's a nice place to live. They do have some crime. They have a few bad neighborhoods that have really raised the crime rate for the whole city, which is unfortunate, but they have a low cost of living and housing. Most of the schools are really good, and they have a ton of office jobs. Wells Fargo's here, Mercy Medical, Unity Point Health, Principal Financial Group. They've got a lot of offices and a lot of big companies waiting to hire you if you move here. The average home value is $166,000. The livability score is 77, and the annual cost of living, excluding housing, is $18,000. Number 4, Akron, Ohio. Here's a city I don't think we've ever really talked about Akron on this channel. I mean, it's not nice enough to be on a nice list, and it's not bad enough to be on a really bad list. It's just sort of in the middle there. That is until you get to a video where it's about the middle class, I guess. So up front, Akron has some crime, but like I said in the last video, if they're like 50% above the national average in crime, it's still pretty decent place to live when you look at places like Detroit with like 460 something percent above the national average, or Chicago has some places like that too. Akron is 51% higher than the national average, so it's got some crime. But here's what's amazing about Akron. If you work remotely, this could be a dream for you if you want to buy a home. You could buy 2 homes probably. They have homes all over the place that are about $140,000. The catch about those houses, they're really nice. If you want one that's not so nice and you're probably gonna have to put some work into it, you're looking in between $50,000 and $75,000. I'm not even kidding. You could make that house payment working at like Taco Bell, I'm sure. Your house payment would be like right around $150 a month. $150 a month. You know, with taxes and everything else, you're probably looking at $165 a month. But let me be clear, Akron isn't the best city to live in. But if you're coming from someplace like South Side Chicago, Detroit, East St. Louis, you'll look at Akron and go, this place isn't that bad. The average home value in Akron, Ohio is $89,000. The livability score here is 66, kind of low, and the annual cost of living, excluding housing, is $14,000 a year. And if you are one of the people looking for a house under $100,000, there is plenty to choose from. You can actually be picky. Number 3, Abilene, Texas. Yep, back to Texas we go. Abilene. Abilene is west of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, kind of on your way to El Paso. Abilene's kind of a weird place. It's sort of a military town. It's sort of a college town. It's got a prison not too far out of town. You have Dyess Air Force Base on the west side of town. And on the east side of town, you got Abilene Christian University. These are a few of the largest employers in the Abilene area. Actually, Dyess Air Force Base has 8,400 employees. Abilene Christian has almost 2,000, and the Texas Department of Criminal Justice has a little over 1,000. You have some healthcare employers here like Hendrick Health System, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, and of course Abilene Regional Medical Center. So this is a great place if you're in the healthcare field. Abilene has a little crime, not terrible. It's only 16% above the national average. And their cost of living is actually 16% lower than the national average. Their housing is 45% lower than the national average. Those are some good numbers. The average home value in Abilene is $155,000. The livability score here is 80, so that's pretty darn good. The annual cost of living, excluding housing, is about $18,000 a year. Number 2, Brownsville, Texas. Down in the southernmost point of Texas, you have Brownsville on the Rio Grande, and not too far from the Gulf of Mexico. If you follow Elon Musk, Tesla, and all that SpaceX stuff, you know he's been throwing a lot of money around Brownsville to help his different ventures. He has a rocket assembly plant there or something right now, and they've been launching rockets from that area. I think one exploded. In the years to come, I think he's going to be bringing a lot more jobs there. Right now, the main employer is the Brownsville Independent School District. They have almost 8,000 employees. Then you have a bunch of other ones like University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, City of Brownsville, things like that. Brownsville's crime is only 16% higher than the national average, which is pretty good. And their housing costs are actually 55% lower. The cost of living is 27% below the national average. Brownsville's not a small city either. They've got 175,000 people actually living in the city, with about 420,000 living in the metro area. The average home value in Brownsville, Texas is $126,000. The livability score here is 76, and the annual cost of living, excluding housing, is about $16,000 a year. Right before we get to number one, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There is a link down below. Love it if you went over there and subscribed. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so and ring that little bell so you know when we upload it. All right, on to number one. And number one, Fort Wayne, Indiana. I love Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is a great place. Indiana's got a lot of problems. I mean, Indianapolis isn't the best. Gary, Indiana blows. South Bend isn't great. Then you have Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne is a great place to live. Right now, it is ranked in number one as the best big city in Indiana, the best big city in crime, meaning they have the best stats, best big city in education and employment. They're number one in all four of those, which are all very important to anyone looking for a new place to live. Their crime rate's only 20% higher than the national average, but their cost of living is 14% lower than the national average. Their housing is 44% lower than the national average, and their schools get a grade of B+. Fort Wayne has a little over 260,000 residents, with the metro area having almost 420,000. Some of the bigger companies here are Franklin Electric, Frontier Communications, Indiana Michigan Power, MedPro Group, North American Van Lines, Lincoln Financial, and Steel Dynamics is headquartered in Fort Wayne. The average home value in Fort Wayne, Indiana is $170,000, livability score is 81, and the annual cost of living, excluding housing, is about $17,000 a year. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a good day, and be nice to each other.